Nsfw. People whose first relationship was very long-term. What weird thing did you believe was normal until you started seeing other people? She made me believe the old TV tropes of women never wanting sex. I had to work my ass off to get her to give me some action. The next girl I had was just fucking amazed that I didn't just ask for it when I wanted it. The bewildered look on her face when she finally asked, "Do you realize I'm horny too, right?" Man, that hits too close to home for me. Not me, but the girl I'm currently dating said that her first long-term boyfriend would stare at himself in the bathroom for an hour or so before going to bed each night. Was your girlfriend dating Patrick Bateman? This is morbid, but I thought it was normal to argue every day. I thought all couples have their bickering, and it was just a regular thing. I was astounded when I went into my next relationship and actually got on with the guy and went weeks and weeks without having any issues. It always felt like the bubble was going to burst. Goes to show, don't stay in a relationship just because you've already invested a ton of time. You get one life, spend it with someone who makes you laugh every day. My parents' relationship was like this. When I met my current partner, I told him I would never get married because I don't see the point in being stuck in an argument for the rest of my life. His response was, "Okay, well, if we communicate, I don't see why we would be always arguing." I didn't get it and didn't want to get into it. One day we were communicating and the conversation was intense. Not even arguing, raised voices. And he said, "Let's take a break from this. I'm feeling frustrated," and I just sat there dumbfounded like, what? You aren't gonna yell at me. Glad you found each other. I thought most guys liked having their nipples played with because my first ex did. My second boyfriend was so confused when I started licking his titty, LMAO. Lol. When my ex was getting close to climax, he would like when I dug my nail into his nipple. Like kind of hard. So when I got to my next BF, to say we were both shocked when I did that is an understatement, lol. I texted my then new girlfriend about where I was and who I was with about every 30 minutes. After the third time, she told me that she didn't need to get updates on what I was doing, and to just let her know when I got home safe. I remember feeling almost a physical weight being lifted off my chest because I didn't have to worry about my girlfriend freaking out if I didn't update her. I learned what trust felt like that night. I am actually amazed at how many married couples are this way. I just thought it was common sense to trust your spouse is doing what they said they were doing. No point in being crazy until there is a reason to be. In the words of my shrink, worrying doesn't change the outcome. Quote, "It applies in a lot of situations." Edit. I will forward all the gold and platinum to my therapist. I'm sure he would be pleased to know I spread his mind virus. Thanks. That some girls, in a relationship, don't like to kiss as often as others. I'm just talking about pecs when GF gets home, etc. I always enjoyed a hello kiss, but I guess some girls don't. It's heartwarming to realize that there are girls who are as into kissing as I am, monsieur. My ex wasn't into kissing very much. I love kissing and just touching in general. If I were with a girl who wanted to, I could just kiss and grope her for hours while watching a movie or something. People's love languages are all different. It's especially jarring when you have a lot of experience doing things a certain way, and then finding out that isn't what somebody else needs. It can take some work to figure out what's inherent to yourself and what was learned from your partner. This is super valid, and I feel like it applies to other types of relationships too. Learning about different ways people express affection for each other and why they might do it that way was a big help for understanding my monsieur. For me, I express and understand affection by spending time with someone. But my mom never really wanted to spend much time with me, and didn't appreciate me trying to spend a lot of time with her. It made me feel really unimportant and a bit unloved at times. But then I came across this site talking about different kinds of showing care, and found one that fit her perfectly on it. Showing affection by doing things for someone, not with them, but for them, to make their lives easier. My mom had been trying all that time to show she cared by doing little things for me all the time. Things I often hardly even thought to notice. And that was probably why she would get so upset when she asked me to do some small thing for her. And then I forgot. Me forgetting to do that small and seemingly unimportant thing probably made her feel unimportant and unloved. Figuring that out has really helped me understand her. My ex put her happiness on me, making it my responsibility. Would demand I stay around and cut my work hours back, and then be upset when we wouldn't have money to go out. Every time I would try and leave, I was coerced with sex to stay, because I was young and stupid. After 8 years I had enough. I moved 5 states away, had a chain of bad relationships that ended. Took some time to work on myself and am now engaged to an amazing woman I can communicate with, share feelings about issues, and who values a healthy relationship. Same exact story minus some years and relationships after it. I feel like as people we're conditioned to fight and do everything we can for ourselves. But the lines of what is normal versus abuse gets blurred really easily in a relationship. Double when you have a partner who takes steps to purposefully blur that line too. You trusted them to not take advantage of you. That's what makes it hurt far worse. The best thing you can do after a long relationship is take steps to rediscover your identity. Your identity will change a little bit when you're with someone for years. And you will personally change. I'm not the man I was before my relationship, but I'm damn fucking proud of the person I'm building from the ground up now. My next girlfriend will 100% appreciate and not take advantage of the awesome person I fucking am. Otherwise they won't be my next. They'll be my ex. Being cowed into an open arrangement equals normal. Him introducing me to friends while hanging out or going to parties, and then him telling me later in the evening after the ice had broken that they were actually the girl he was fucking. Capitulating to his insistence that we continue to hang out even though I was uncomfortable with knowing this new information. Equals him making unwelcome and uncomfortable comments to other women I was friends with in front of me too. Attempt to orchestrate threesomes that I was not okay with. Equals normal if you love me, you'll chase after me. Equals normal if you love me, you'll leave FaceTime up at all times so I can see what's going on in your dorm. Equals normal if you love me, you will not show any sad or mad emotion, because it ruins my mood. Equals normal. OMG, totally forgot about that. You're responsible for my mood, but I'm not responsible for yours. The logic of these people. Gosh, that was super my ex. He was in a bad mood. I'm obviously not trying enough. I'm bad. I'm in a bad mood. I'm obviously putting it on so I can get attention and avoid being helpful for him. Also, I'm bad. By the way, the emotional suppression this leads to results in big-time depression and some alienation. I do not recommend. Porn is not a documentary being used as a sex doll, contorted into uncomfortable positions, and pounded until you bleed, can't stand up, or just break down crying from the pain isn't normal. Nor is anal sex a necessity. We were both virgins and he had major porn brain. I thought I was bad at sex and would never be able to have a positive experience with intimacy, until I finally left him and was with my second boyfriend. I'm okay now, but wow, was that a horrible person to lose my virginity to. The first and second time I had sex, I was in so much pain, crying during sex, bled for days afterward. The third time, I tried with a different guy. When he came over, I had paper towels ready next to the bed because I thought for sure I was going to bleed. I ended up dating that guy for about 4 months, and never felt any pain or bled at all during sex. One time I told him to stop, and he immediately pulled away. and I was expecting him to not stop like the first guy did. I was really surprised. It completely opened my eyes to how sex is supposed to be and how much that first guy messed me up. It wasn't super long term. Only about a year, but when you're in high school that's fairly long term. A year. My ex was a very clingy dude. Sweet, but would follow me around every social gathering and get jealous of me spending time with my friends. When I started dating the guy who is now my husband, I remember looking around at a party early on of mostly my friends that he hadn't met before, and I couldn't find him. A year. I asked someone where he was, and he was out by the fire with a group of people chatting and hanging out. I was astonished that we could just go our separate ways in a social setting, and that was totally fine. We didn't have to be attached at the hip the whole time. As a clingy guy trying to not be, what would you say is the appropriate amount of time to be with your partner v friends at a party? Don't think of it as appropriate amount of time. If you're hanging out and chatting along with your girl, that's cool. But if you're just standing there while she is talking, that is being clingy. My ex basically taught me that it wasn't okay for me to be upset about things. Every time I would get my feelings hurt, it was somehow flipped around, so I ended up reassuring and comforting him. A year. That shit really messed me up, and I basically had to relearn how to be vulnerable with my so. He also had a very solid plan of how he expected me to live my life. Basically, his main goal for me was to have kids and be a good housewife. Yike. On the bright side, nowadays I'm happily engaged and my fiancé treats me with so much love and respect. He's supportive of my dreams and